Oh, so just about done here. Got my last two in here. I had a lot of students that were working on their last project, and they immediately started sending me messages saying, help, I don't know what to do. If you are having trouble, please understand we're not going to be able to be available during the regular school day because we're helping out with testing. Your best bet is to slow down and maybe watch the rest of the video first, and to rewind it. I mean, that's why these are recorded for you and why we're doing step-by-step instruction on here, so that you can see every part of it that goes into making your projects for art and doing your other stuff for music and PE. But most of the time when kids are having trouble, it's because they're trying to do the project at the exact same pace that I am in the video. And you can see that this one I already had done ahead of time, and I didn't record every single loop that I put on the cardboard ring. So it's gonna look like I'm moving much faster. So make sure that you pause the video and rewind. And these don't take very long, so sometimes it's a really good idea. I mean, I suggested this at the beginning of the year. Watch the whole video first before you start, so that you know what you're going to end up with and what you need. So I'm on my last pieces here, and it's getting a little harder to fit them in, so I want to make sure that I'm getting everything covered. And I'm just going to push these a little bit closer to each other. Looks like I could do another one right here. And I think this time it took about 29 pieces. With this one, I think it took about 32. I made another one with that blue yarn. That was about 36, I think. And then the one with the worsted yarn, I lost count. It was well over 40 pieces. I stopped paying attention after that. So once I've got them on here, I'm not going to worry about how many I've got. I just want to make sure it looks good. I'm just saying that if you want me to give you an exact number of how many pieces of string you're going to need, or yarn in this case, you can do it with string, but you know, string is much thinner. Worsted yarn and cord and things are much thinner than regular acrylic yarn. So I don't know exactly how many you're going to need, even though this is probably the same type of yarn as this. This is only like 29 or maybe 30. All right, so this is the part of the hat that is going to be the brim. Now, when we look at this one, you can see the knots are still down there. And that's when we put it down to sit down, that's what it's going to be sitting on, is those knots. So what we have to do is push our yarn through the hole. Now I want you to do this very, very gently so that you don't move your little loops. And I kept calling them knots, but they're really just loops. So we still want those to be on the bottom. I'm doing this very, 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 very gently. I'm going to take my time and not try to mash them all through at once, because I don't want them to get tangled up. So I can go ahead and do this. It sort of looks like a beard, doesn't it? So that is probably the hardest part, is to make sure that you don't pull, because if you pull, these little loops are just going to go along with you, and it's not going to look like the brim of the hat anymore. And so this will give you your little loops, and they should all fit on through your cardboard tube center. And here we're almost at our hat already. Let's do the same thing with the worsted yarn. So if you used a string or cord, you want to do the same thing. Just take your time and be gentle. This one wanted to gather up a lot when I was pushing. So I'm just going to stop right there and gently, slowly, gently take my time. Faster is not better. Faster in this case is going to make a mess. It's going to ruin all your hard work that you may have done on this with measuring and cutting and then doing the loops. So take the time, slow down and be gentle. I have kids that want to be done with their project in 5 minutes. Faster is not better. Faster usually means that you didn't take the time to be careful and you didn't take enough care with something, either the quality of your project or your supplies. So you want to make sure that your final piece of anything you make, whether it's more like a craft like this or a drawing, shows that you have a lot of care for your work. All right, here we go. So I have my loops down here at the bottom, and this one's almost ready. I think this one is going to make a very nice hat as well. I need to get a piece of cord to tie that one with. So actually, let me use another color so that you'll be able to see it on the video. So I'm going to use that green. All right, so I'm going to use this one, and all I want to do is sort of make sure that it's not bunched up. Sort of going from the center on out, making sure it looks pretty even. Oh, it wasn't. So we want to try to get rid of anything where they're trying to cross over on each other too much. I mean, that's going to happen, but we want to try to keep them sorted out to where you can see the individual yarns. I'm not pulling on them, I'm just making sure that they're not on top of each other. I'm just making sure that they sit individually. So, and I'll do the same thing with the regular yarn. So you might want to watch this one first. I'll go ahead and lay it down, and I'm just going to tie a knot right there. So mine's pretty close to the brim. If you want to have it further, you can. But the other thing I want to do is before I tie it again, I want to make sure that I'm happy with it. Just putting in my thumb and sort of moving around. Yep, looks good to me. Now this one, I'm doing the different color so that you can see it, and then I'm going to tie it again so that it is a double knot and it's not going to come loose. So you might need a hand with making sure that knot is nice and tight. But look at what we end up with here.